Hello and welcome to VR Reviews. Today we'll be reviewing the Irwin Toys 12-inch Collector Series Piccolo. So yes, here we have a Piccolo from an old Irwin Toys line where they made a couple of 12-inch figures. Full cloth clothing, fairly decent articulation for the time, and overall kind of cool figures. So let's go ahead and zoom into the articulation, scope and details, all those sorts of things. Alright, starting with a quick size comparison. Of course, here we have our 12-inch Piccolo. Here's the SH Figure Arts Piccolo, just for some added Piccolo action. And then here's our standard Marvel Legends 6-inch Superior Spider-Man, and our 3 3/4-inch Marvel Universe Wolverine. So Piccolo, like his name suggests, is 12 inches tall. That puts him kind of close to the 1/6 scale, although 1/6 scale figures are usually a little bit taller than that. Of course, being that height, he is much taller than all these other things. So let's get everything else out of here and just look at the 12-inch Piccolo. Alright, moving on to our 360 spin. Here you can see Piccolo. He is decked out in full cloth clothing with the exception of a few pieces of his cape. His clothing is all that sort of shiny, satiny kind of feel. It's fairly well made. It's durable seeming. The main of his outfit is purple and fairly baggy and looks fairly accurate, and then his belt is a light blue. His arms are textured with that sort of a muscly kind of texture, and they are green and have the pink and red patches on them. He also has the red striping around the wrist. His hands are in sort of holding positions, which is one of my biggest complaints about this figure, because they're not really useful for anything, but there's not much you can do about that. The nails on those are painted white. Down there at the bottom, he has those sort of brownish, orangish color shoes. They're pointy. He has his big cape on. The sort of neck collar kind of piece is plastic, and then the rest of it is cloth. Although the pointy out shoulder bits is cloth, like draped over actual hard plastic. So that about wraps it up for all of Piccolo's body detail. Let's go ahead and look at his head sculpt. Zooming in on Piccolo's head sculpt, you can see that it is green, as well it should be. It has some sculpted detail in there, but there's not really a lot of paint variation. He's got a nondescript sort of mouth and nose, and then his eyes are painted white and have black pupils. He's got that brow up there, and then he's got ears on the side, and you can see his turban up here, which has some sculpted detail on it, and it is purple on top. So that's pretty much it for Piccolo's head sculpt. It looks fairly acceptable. Now let's zoom out and look at some articulation. Articulation-wise, Piccolo is actually fairly good. He's got a cut joint here at the head, which is probably one of his worst kind of joints. Ball joint shoulders in and out, forward and back, bicep cut. Single joint elbow, wrist hinge and rotation. He has a waist cut that also flexes in and out a little bit, but not enough to really matter. Ball joint hips, those go in and out and forward and back. He has a cut up there, double jointed knees, and then he has a hinge down here at the ankle. So that's all very cool. You can see the articulation if you do that real quick. If you want to see Piccolo's legs, so that's all very cool. Now Piccolo doesn't really come with any accessories, although you can remove his cape if you want to, although I don't think it's really meant to be done. But his head does come off somewhat easily. And then you can take that off and put his head back on, and he can be displayed without it, although it does make his neck look very, very long and irregular. So that's really the only thing that would really be considered an accessory, is his removable cape. Anyway, that wraps it up for Piccolo and all of his accessories. So let's move on to the packaging. Packaging-wise, Piccolo comes in this big windowed box. You got your Irwin Toys Funimation logos up there at the top. Big window here. Piccolo, Dragon Ball Z logo down there at the bottom. On the back, you get a little bit of a description, as well as some of the other figures that were available, which are Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and Super Saiyan Goku. There's also a Trunks, which is not listed back here, and I think that's all of them, but I could be wrong. As is usually the case with window boxes, these are good for in or out of package display, so yeah, Piccolo. Alright, that wraps it up for Piccolo, so until next time, goodbye! Hello, you've just watched one of my videos. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed my videos. If you didn't, run away and never return. Also, feel free to check out my other channels, Venom Raptor for all my variety gaming content, and VR Reviews for reviews of various action figures and collectibles. Thank you, and goodbye.